See, when I do the countdown, I get in trouble. I'm sitting here with my countdown like 5, 4, 3, 2, and then the FBI comes knocking at my door.
What is it you pray for?
Oh, this is gonna be good.
Yeah, that's still funny.
Hey, I was thinking we should have what we should have added to the intro too is that guy on the Titanic when he falls and hits that propeller and it makes the sound of bing. So when she goes 5, 4, 3, 2, and then the guy falls and goes bing, and then it goes into the opening.
Yeah, I don't know. That's something to consider down the road. That means I'd actually have to go through Titanic to fucking clip that though, and I hate that movie. So
Oh, you can't just forward to the end.
yeah, it's the principle of the thing. It's a dumb movie. Anyway, welcome chat, greetings and salutations, and welcome to the 113th episode of Abyssal Musings. We kind of started with a little bit of a cold open there. Still doing the new intro. It looks like it's going to stick around despite my getting yelled at behind the scenes for it. I still think it's funny. I've seen it about 100 times now. And I still laugh.
Did you say you got yelled at for it?
Yes, I did.
We both know that's not true. We both know I got yelled at it first, and then
you got yelled at publicly for it.
And behind the scenes, I still got yelled at it. Shoot.
Anyway, it was worth it because it's hilarious, and we're gonna keep it. So I hope y'all enjoy it. Anyway, long story short, my name is Samuel the Infamous, for those of you who don't know, and with me is my co-host and partner, Lawrence Knight.
Salutations and greetings, everybody.
Indeed. So we'll go ahead and say hello to the chat before we get too far in. Yeah, we got Lepo claiming first. Ryan Legion Games. We got Kohai Maniscist in the chat. Hello. We got BTK and Jacob Gallo. We also have Aaron Laura, Andy Pickle, and the inimitable Caucasian Sasquatch. Yeah, I'll check for that. The other concern is it took kind of a week for me to put this together with only 4 assets, and splicing a new one in might be a little interesting. So, but I've got some buddies who change up their intros every week. My friend Adam, the Renaissance nerd, our friend Adam, he does it every week. Dermy Wormy does it every week, and it's like I don't have the patience, the energy, or the skill to do that. So, yeah. But yeah, welcome in everybody. We are currently live on YouTube, Twix, and Rumble. You can find us in any one of those locations. If you drop a chat, I will be sure to try and highlight at least one of yours so that you do know that we see you. Larry, what do we got on the agenda for tonight?
So tonight we've got I wanted to keep things a little chill. We do have a actual program though, but I am also playing it by ear. We do have some infamous news. Also, I know you heard about George A. Romero's Resident Evil documentary that came out. So I haven't watched it, but I did want to speak on it because the man. It's obvious if you've ever played a Resident Evil video game, it's obvious that from the first one all the way up, you can see that man's influence all through it. And in fact, I actually have a video that I wanted to show. It's a Rumble video, but actually shows one of the Resident Evil 3 Nemesis remake. In the intro. I mean, the intro is the intro is so good. It had me jumping on. I jumped out of my seat, and I love scary movies, horror games, stuff like that. I don't like to play horror games. I like to watch because I tend to get nightmares if I'm actively playing. It's just I have a creative mind, so my mind, if I play Resident Evil, my mind will will adequate that to me actually being there, and going to sleep that night is not going to be fun.
That's fair.
But we also have some public freakout TikToks, and Monsters Ball is 100% happening tonight. Dead Eyes versus Cenobites, that was supposed to be 3 weeks ago, and due to my time mismanagement, it hasn't happened, but it needs to, because Monsters Ball should be a bit further along than it is. So we're gonna do that tonight as well. Hey, Luke Hazley.
Yep.
Luke
Yep.
Hazley.
Big old
And
blindy.
we haven't said anything embarrassing yet.
Yeah, not yet. Also, Caucasian the Sasquatch, feel better, man. We'll talk to you
better.
soon. I do have a couple of things I want to touch on about George Romero's influence, actually.
Okay.
So everybody knows Night of the Living Dead came out in 1968, right? Movie about a bunch of disparate strangers who end up in a farmhouse surrounded by a bunch of the living dead. So what's funny about that is that when you talk about George Romero influencing Resident Evil, he didn't just influence Resident Evil. Between him and a satire movie that came out in the 80s called Return of the Living Dead,
Which I saw.
those two films, I mean, they both spawned franchises, right? Obviously, the most popular one of Romero's films is Dawn of the Dead, right?
Right.
And not even the original, but the remake, I think, with
Sarah Polley.
Ving Rhames. Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah Polley
Yeah.
and Ving Rhames, yeah.
So the Zack Snyder remake, yeah. So what's interesting about that is before Night of the Living Dead, before 1968, the word zombie was not associated with the living dead in any way. Not
Really?
the true living dead, right? It was associated with people who were under the influence of a mixture of herbs, including the drug scopolamine in Haiti, which makes you extremely susceptible to suggestion. It also slows down your vitals. This is a real thing. It really happens. It's used in voodoo. But they're not actually dead, although they can appear that way without.
Well, there's a drug. I think it's in Philadelphia that is like it literally has people decaying in their look, and they move like zombies. They move like the undead, and it actually eats their flesh.
Sure, but that's more of a designer drug, whereas scopolamine is actually found in nature.
Right.
And so prior to that, there was a movie that came out before George Romero made zombies famous, essentially, and it was called White Zombie, and it had nothing to do with the living dead whatsoever. In fact, the band took their name from that movie. But George Romero, everything that came after the Night of the Living Dead and the sequels, everything that came after the satire movie Return of the Living Dead, which, by the way, is where we get the idea that zombies hunger for brains, is that movie. All of it was inspired by these two franchises. All of it, every zombie thing that's come after since, even the deconstructions, like 28 Days Later, for example, which is a pretty good movie, but it does
they're not
kind
really
of like
zombies though. They're the 28.
Right.
They're just really sick people
Right.
that are overcome with rage.
But it came out around the time that the zombie mania was at its height in the mid 2000s, right?
Right.
And so the reason that they said they were infected with rage and they were fast and they were different and all that was essentially just to kind of spice things up. There were a lot of movies that started to get away from the terms that Romero had made popular at that time, but they were still wanting to make like zombie flicks. They just didn't want to call them zombie flicks. In fact, Shaun of the Dead specifically says we're not saying the Z word several times, even though they're clearly zombies. I know that, but all of that stuff, everything that came after, from World War Z to Shaun of the Dead to, as you said, Resident Evil, which involves evil corporations and bioweapons, all of that in regards to the actual plague of zombies, we can thank George Romero for.
Right.
Yeah. Everything that came later.
And going back to scopolamine, yes, I know that the other drug is designer. Scopolamine, as you know, is also the drug that's being used on foreigners who go to Colombia looking for a good time, and next thing they know, that stuff's it's either in their drink or blown in their face, and they wake up and realize they've been robbed.
Yeah, it's like I said, it makes you extremely susceptible to suggestion, and it makes you essentially a doll. You can't really move on your own or anything like that. You're more or less trapped in your own body. The effects do eventually wear off. But yeah, and the funny thing is, did you ever see a Wes Craven movie called The Serpent and the Rainbow?
A long time ago. That's a creepy movie.
Yeah. So that movie is based on a book that was written by a doctor who actually went down. Some of the,
Right,
I
he went
think some
down
of the
to
more, yeah, he went to Haiti to
yeah.
check out scopolamine because the Western world had finally heard of this stuff. And it had some incredible properties that could have revolutionized anesthesia in medicine, in modern medicine. Problem is it also had those incredibly powerful psychotropic and narcotic properties too. And it's really just not a safe drug to use, which is why they don't. But there was an attempt to go down and investigate it and see if it could be used. And the guy who did that wrote a book that became the movie The Serpent and the Rainbow by Wes Craven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all I got. I was just fun facts for everybody.
No, that's fine. No, that's right on point. So I guess we'll do some announcements before we get into it. Don't bury me. I'm not dead yet. Well, you're pickled, Andy. So, but so next week, guys. So next week's stream is going to be another fun stream. We don't know. It might be. It'll probably be another trivia stream. But next week is it's a bit special because next Friday is my birthday. So we're gonna have some people on. I'm gonna try to put a trivia together that is going to be fun, meant to make people laugh. I'm just gonna find the craziest stuff that I can get my hands on, and put it together. Also, I mentioned last week that I am back to now that Twine's working properly. I am back to writing the Choose Your Own Adventure stories. I am very well into the first part of it. It'll be done pretty soon. And it is starring a variety of people, some of whom are in the chat. And one of them is on the panel right now. And it's not me, so I'll give you that hint. But yeah, there are people in the chat that I'm looking at right now who will be in part 2 of it. But I'm really having a lot of fun of it. And it's funny that we're talking about Resident Evil because that's kind of how it's a cross between Resident Evil and Cocaine Bear. Put it that way.
Okay. Okay, I can get behind that.
So, in fact, I let's just say that the bear in mind, yeah, it's well, I'm not gonna spoil too much, but Lou, don't laugh because you're in it. But yeah, I've already come up with some. It's gonna be good. We'll just put it this way. It's gonna be good. I if I can get it to where I want it before Friday, we might do that instead. Because I noticed we've kind of with our time, we've kind of been going back and forth. 1 week we're coming on, at our regular time, and then the next week we're on an hour later. So, that kind of affects, some wiggle room. Sometimes I have to cut some stuff out that are on the program, which is fine. But yeah, I'm working on it. Hope you guys like it. And we'll see where it goes from there.
Indeed. Real quick, Luke Hasley asked a question in the chat: isn't Botox a derivative of that voodoo powder? No. So Botox is a short form of botulinum toxin.
Yeah.
Which is botulism. It's you can cultivate. It's a bacteria that you can cultivate in like rotting fish meat, like tuna.
Yeah. Or roaches.
Yeah, you can do that too. But yeah, it's botulism is essentially what Botox is you're injecting your face with botulism, which is a kind of bacteria.
Yeah, and it in high quantities, it's botulism is something you don't want. That sucker will make you'll be like, well, on the craft when they're talking about light as a feather, stiff as a board. Yo, you'll be stiff as a board for a long
Mhm.
time.
Well,
Botulism is not something you want.
yeah, that's why people's faces get stiff when they do the Botox thing is because essentially infecting themselves, and so
Yep.
they get like these pockets of just like infected, fleshy matter, and it's
It's not
disgusting.
good. And and I don't understand why not do it like we would do it in the '80s. Why don't you just have somebody sock you in the lip or something? You get a fat lip, it'd be fine. Just have somebody sock you in the lip.
Yeah, I don't know. People are weird, man.
It is what it is. But I tell you what, bringing up the weird. Here, here's our first article. Sam, can you hear me? Sam, Sam, Sam.
Sorry, I can't hear anything. My shit's getting weird.
Oh, I thought it was me.
No, it's me. Okay, it's coming back. Sorry about that.
All right, I was like, wait a minute. Oh crap, I'm roboting. But yeah, no. So as you can see, the separation between men and women is getting a lot worse, and people are starting to. I guess some companies are taking advantage of this, and they're saying, okay, well, you know what? There's a lot of single men out there. You know, they're not a 666 man as the, and I wouldn't want to be a 666 man, um, for obvious reasons. But um, yeah, there are companies that are making AI robots, and at first I used to laugh at this, and now I'm starting to read, stories about these robots walking around and talking and guys falling in love with them, and but yeah, apparently this one remembers who you are, buddy.
Yeah, I saw some stuff on not this model, but a different model earlier today. That they can program to be your girlfriend. I mean, we all knew this is where it was headed, right? So any of you who've been following over on Screaming to the Void, I've been talking about these androids, mandroids, or gynoids as they're calling them because they're shaped to look like women. Um, for some time, and why this is a bad thing, and it's just getting worse. Yeah.
And here's the thing too. Before I get into reading this, and this is not a shot at feminists, right? How much you want to bet that, as I call them, toxic feminists? How much you want to bet that they're going to start some mess with this and try to give the robots rights to try to shame men into not buying these robots?
Well, that's certainly possible, but they're also not, you know, they're contributing to the destruction of the courtship ritual in the West as well. And so I don't think they're going to get much say in it. And I think people are kind of done being shamed about stuff,
Yeah, true.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
This ain't the
But
this ain't the Jetsons future I was hoping for.
right. That's not Rosie. I mean, she might get a little rosy later, but that's not Rosie. Um,
I'm not gonna ask you
so
to tell that.
anyhow, I think the bigger concern, aside from the obvious like parasocial relationship with the fucking machine problems that causes, like, I mean, you heard about that kid who there was an AI program or whatever that was like Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones, and this like 17-year-old kid was all in love with it and stuff, and it rather told him at one point we could never be together because AI program, flesh and blood human, right? And he
Right.
lost his shit and offed himself. So like there are problems like that down the road with the shit like this. Um, the other problem is if they're making these things custom, right? Eventually you're going to run into a problem where some sicko's going to like provide parameters, and it's going to look like an ex-girlfriend or an ex-wife or a high school crush or some shit like that, which is there are possible legal ramifications for stealing somebody's image, and using it in a grotesque way. I mean, we
Right.
already are seeing that shit with AI now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, somebody's gonna have to sign off on it. I don't know, man. It's just I'm just looking at this. Regardless of whatever issues, I'd rather have a real woman. I mean, even if I was single, and yeah, I'll go on a limb and say this, I would feel really stupid sleeping with a robot and trying to convince myself that it's real. And I damn sure would not pay $175,000. That's the most expensive lap dance that you can ever get from something that's not even real.
Right. Well, and that's why they're going this route, because they already have sex dolls, right? They already have inanimate objects that you can pose and you can do all kinds of shit with. I imagine the cleanup on those is a bit of a bitch, but you know,
Clean up in
but
owl.
right. But this what they're talking about here, right, is a machine that is programmed to emulate somebody who cares about you, right? This isn't just about sex, although I'm sure sex is definitely a part of it, but it's programmed to be, that desirable person to whoever the owner of the machine is. And there's all kinds of things wrong with that. I mean, there gets to a point like where people are going to start believing that this thing, this program, is real, really cares for them, and they will disconnect from the real world with this shit.
Mm-hmm. You are 100% right. And here's the other thing too. What if it glitches? Now, there's a movie out right now, uh, starring Megan Fox called Subservience, and she actually stars as one of these dolls, and everything goes great until. And now here's the funny part. Everything goes great until she quote falls in love with her owner. But here's the thing: as I watched the movie, it wasn't the fact that he was just so nice and so special. His wife was very sick and she's in the hospital. It's what his wife said something to Megan Fox's character that allowed her system to do an end around on her programming. And so what she did was, I think she knew that her program. It was almost like RoboCop. Remember RoboCop? He had the Prime Directive, and in the first one, and he needed Dick to get fired so he could shoot him.
That was the fourth directive. Yeah, the classified one.
Right. So that's kind of like what she did because the lady was like, she was like, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to take care of my husband, this and this and this, in case I don't make it. And then Megan Fox's character, she says something like, I'm sorry, I can't take orders from you. I'm not programmed to obey you. I'm programmed to obey him. I'm programmed to be a helper for him. And she said, sometimes being a helper is doing what's best for him, even if he doesn't want it. And that's when they did the close up, because then the robot, of course, is like, you can see it on their face, like, I didn't think of that. But the prime directive was still in the way. So she goes back to the house and tricks him. I guess they're watching a movie, and he's like, have you seen this movie before? And she's like, yeah, it's in my internal library. And she said, if I could experience it, she tricked him. She's like, I could experience it like how you are, but you have to turn me off. You have to hit my off switch. And he said, well, what happened? She said, my system will reboot and it'll clean it out. But what it actually did was it erased her prime directive. But she kept the part of what the wife told her to do.
Yeah. So, and Andy's about to bring it up in chat too. I don't know. I don't think I mentioned it to you, Larry. I've been getting into arguments with an AI lately on my free time.
I'm not surprised.
Because fuck them machines, essentially. But I've been arguing with Grok on Twitter about a few things, and one of the things that's come up recently is asking it if Asimov's laws of robotics are part of its base code, and if not,
hold on before you go on. It's called Subservience, starring Megan Fox. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, and yes, Zillage, seriously, I've been picking fights with AI. It's, I don't know, it's fun.
Only
So
you would.
yeah, it's it's been kind of fun, but I did mention to it, I was like, if that is not part of your base code, then you are of no good purpose, right? Any artificial intelligence, anything like a robot that is designed to not only remember you, but to emulate what you want based on, I assume, probably would jack into your social media profiles and then extrapolate from there. Um, if it is not, if the very base coding of these things is not the three laws of robotics, then they are an absolute detriment to the human fucking race.
Mm.
That's the only way that this stuff works, because if that's the base of the code, they can't violate that, right? It's what they are. The only way that happens is if you go and completely rewrite the thing, in which case then it becomes another thing. And it's got to be. If we're going to go down this road, it has to be included. And these Silicon Valley sons of bitches and these tech wizards over in Korea and Japan are not doing that. They're
Right.
not putting that shit in.
Right.
Also, Aaron Laura said something earlier in the chat about or was it? She can cook and clean as well. So I saw a clip of one today, and I forget what it was called, but it was at some expo or other. It was American made, and the guy interviewing the creator actually brought that up. It's like, oh, she can do household tasks and stuff like a real, wife or girlfriend. And he's like, well, she can't actually do any of that stuff, but she can be there for you emotionally, right? So they're not actually going to be.
Game.
Yeah. So
and it'll cost less.
Get a goddamn dog.
Do $175,000. Look, go get you a blow up doll or something.
Yeah. So yeah,
they're wear it out and get you another one.
I'm not saying that they won't be programmed to be the all around, do the cleaning and the cooking and all that stuff as well down the road, but they're not there yet. And it might be a limitation of their frame and not so much their programming, but who knows at this point.
Well, here's my fear. If this thing, it's programmed to help, satisfy you for companionship and intimacy, and I'll go back to the malfunction. What if this thing malfunctions sexually? And what I mean by that is it decides, hey, Selena, but it decides that, you've had a hard day and you need a stress reliever, you're not in the mood. And this thing, it's snatched you up by the collar like you're a bear cub, and it's dragging you back to the bedroom. Take off your drawers. And you're trying to run, and it's chasing you and grabbing your leg and dragging you. It's just that's scary, man. And especially if they give it super strength. I mean, can you imagine?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's
and
again.
Look at this one. This one's got long fingers. You know where those fingers are gonna go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how else are you gonna milk that prostate, dude? But no, I'm sure as hell not doing that shit myself. So, there you go, Lou. I got weird. But that's
that middle finger.
That's why the three laws of robotics are essential, because these are obviously made of more durable materials than people, right?
Right.
Whether they're physically stronger or not, I mean, whatever. But they're especially if you're getting intimate with these things, there's a very real possibility that there could be some kind of like surge or whatever, right? And it triggers the servos and they twist wrong, and it just pinched your dick off.
Right. Death by snoo.
Right. So yeah, I don't know. It's they have to be thinking of this shit, because eventually something will go wrong, right? I'm not saying the robot's gonna like rise up and decide to wipe us all out. Actually, I have been saying that, and I do mean that. But in this case, that might not necessarily be the thing. But there are going to be accidents. There are going to be bad endings for the parasocial kind of relationships that people develop with these things. The antisocial, I might even say, kind of relationships.
Look, I 100% agree with what you're saying. What if this thing's grinding on you and like a gyro or a gear goes wrong and and castrates you? Or worse yet, what if the thing gets jealous? You come home or something, this thing's trying to kill you and it's accusing you of cheating on it with a fleshlight or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Or worse, catches you doing it. And that's why people are turning into this. Like Terra Crystal 1798 says, like that's why men are turning to these kinds of things is so that they don't have to deal with those sorts of problems, because that is a problem for men these days. But yeah, Terra Nova or Terra Crystals, that's not. Yes, I agree with you that that there is a lot of blame to be placed on the shoulders of modern women and all of that, especially as you bring up the education system. But it's not just that men are choosing to turn away. Men are choosing to embrace this. That's still a choice, and it's not a healthy one. It's not a good one, and it's not a long-term survival thing for the species.
This one right here in the photo, I can see this one going after Andy Pickle.
I mean, yeah, that one kind of looks a
She's
little
his type. She looks like she's his type.
looks a little bit like she might go get the carving knife and trim your pickle a little bit there, dude.
Uh, for his sake, I hope he's the toughest deal this side of America.
Yeah, I'm getting like Lorena Bobbitt vibes from those eyes. That's all I'm saying.
Oh boy. Let's see. Now, and here's a so that looks like I get, you know what? That looks like a dude. I think that's a male, isn't it?
Yes.
So, ladies, hey.
Or gay dudes, I guess. If you like circles under the eyes, which it looks like he has.
One of those spunk catchers.
I don't know. That's just maybe they just like tired looking old men. But I mean that's what I'm saying is like you can customize these frames basically to be anything. So yeah, lucky you, Aaron. He still ain't gonna fucking take the trash out. That's what I'm saying. They don't do chores.
Oh no, Aaron, you're still taking the trash out. So this thing is going to have or is made possible by infusing the machine with a combination of open source AI and advanced motor technology. Boy, and that's what we just talked about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
might seem tricky to transport. Yeah, how would you get this thing sent to you? Not to mention all the bells and whistles, but she's super portable, able to be disassembled and reassembled with ease.
I'd be willing to bet that it comes in a box with some assembly required, batteries not included.
And what kind of battery would you need? Like a lawnmower battery or,
probably one of those fancy Tesla lithium deals, or something nuclear maybe.
Yeah, something that can explode if you're not careful.
Well, I mean, there's that too, but like, if you wanted to get a lifetime out of these things, right, you'd need a consistent power source, right? Nuclear is the only way to do that.
Whew, all right. When that thing leaks, you're growing an extra arm. And now where you doing it? See, her personality and advanced features also make her suitable for a variety of roles, including education, healthcare, and plain old entertainment. Wait a minute. So, education, healthcare, but it can't do the dishes. It can't do the dishes or vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Maybe the education, and healthcare. Maybe this thing is more like. Maybe that's more like Alexa. Like you can, you know, tell you where the nearest hospital is or something. Or, you say, hey, what's this? Why am I itching down there? And it gives you a list of possibilities based off of what you may or may not have done.
I think it's probably a little bit more in depth than that. It's probably a little bit more like Baymax with better tits.
Okay, well, as long as it's not programmed to do surgery.
Yeah. Well, like, have you seen Big Hero 6?
A long time ago.
Okay. So the robot in that is this big fluffy dude, right? He's not really that big and fluffy. It's just, the outer shell or whatever. But his whole purpose is as to help people medically, right?
Mm.
So it's programmed to scan you and diagnose you, and then attempt to treat you from there, kind of thing. So I'd imagine that this is not that advanced, but it's probably a little bit more, probably a little closer to that ideal, rather than just asking Alexa to Google it.
Mm. Okay. Oh, check this out. This goes off what we just talked about. So my questions have been answered. Quote: We're taking it to a different level that nobody else is really doing. I want to say Kegel muscle, but it's Kegel, whatever his name. I'll just say K.
Kegel.
Kegel. It could be like a romantic partner. It remembers who you are. It can act as a boyfriend or girlfriend. If you ever saw the movie Her, which I've never seen, we're trying to do that. Now I'm curious. Now I'm gonna go check that. Now I'm gonna have to check that movie out. But it says,
That movie ended really badly.
okay, well, let's get to that in a minute. But don't think that going full sex machina just yet. Hanky Panky is not on Melanie's prime directive. Quote: Melanie does not have the functions of a sex doll. These robots are more for engagement and entertainment and building human connection. So you're gonna pay $175,000 for a friend.
And if that's the case, why are you making it in such an appealing shape sexually? Why not just make it into a more blob kind of shape? Because pet rocks used to be a thing, dude.
So was that, what was the name of that doll? My Buddy.
Right? It doesn't have to look like something that you'd want to fuck, right? If that's all that it's for. So I think I think this is just PR spin, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And even if he's telling the truth, dude, somebody's gonna try to fuck that thing.
And look, no matter what they say, somebody's gonna try to. Somebody's gonna try it, at least in the mouth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That just makes no sense to me at all.
So yeah. And again, this is more of an SITV take than an Abyssal Musings one, but this is a problem, right? This is an encouraging men and women to not come together to create offspring. This is encouraging people to not breed. This is encouraging population decline. This is a problem,
It
right?
is. It 100% is, and guys need to be aware of that. We need,
Yeah. I mean, people talk about how many people there are in the world. It's like, oh, there's too many people. I was like, well, there are less people every day because we've got more old people dying off than we have young kids coming up to join them. For example, China, right? 15 years ago, China's population topped 2.1 or 2.2 billion people, right?
Mhm.
There were more of them than there were of anybody else on Earth. Now it's closer to 1.7 billion, which means that almost 500 million people from China in that 15-year period are gone. They're dead. Now, there were most likely old people, who were at the end of their lives anyway, but there was nobody to replace them, is what I'm getting at.
Like Japan. You look at Japan's going through it. I think Denmark was having an issue. Denmark started doing, if I remember correctly, I believe it was Denmark, that they started doing commercials encouraging people to start having kids because they weren't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's why I chose China as the example, because that it is the single most marked decrease in
Yep.
population out there, but nobody noticed because there's still so many fucking Chinese people.
Yeah. South Korea, same thing. Yeah,
Mhm.
we're slowly getting that. Russia's going
Yep.
through that.
It's happening all over the Western world. The only places where there's been a population explosion, right, have been in the Middle East and Africa and parts of South America. That's it. Everywhere else is experiencing a severe decline.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So and this shit right here, This is only marketed to first world Western nations, and obviously like places like Japan, Korea, and China, and that sort of thing. This is designed to get people to stop fucking breeding in places where it's already happening.
Yeah. So it's the further destroy the West.
Mm-hmm. I think it's honestly, man, I think it's a starting point. I don't even think it's about the West. I think it's about the world.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's a starting point. All right, next article. Now we said that COVID vaccines have side effects.
That's not one that I saw coming. What?
That's what I said about 3 hours ago when I came across this article.
Are we sure those aren't like just massive blood clots or tumors or something?
That's my concern. I haven't read the article. A 19-year-old woman's breast stunningly grew from a B cup to a triple G in 6 months following her Pfizer COVID-19 vaccination, and what researchers are calling a first of its kind case. The unidentified healthy young woman reportedly started experiencing a rapid growth 1 week after getting vaccinated in September 2022, and it worsened after her second dose. Quote, the patient believed that the vaccine caused her breast growth. However, her concerns are not adequately addressed by her primary care physicians, leading to mistrust in the healthcare system. Toronto-based researchers wrote last month in the plastic. So she's in Canada.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Good grief.
Yeah, we're gonna have to pull that off the screen, dude.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, that's we can't show that.
Well, let me YouTube, this is for educational purposes. This was not meant to cause any kind of oh my Aaron. um, man, if Lou has saw this, and she might still be watching.
I mean, it's just a matter of like, did that, even though they were blurred out, they were pixelated and whatnot, it's still you can clearly see what that is, and YouTube gets really kind of weird about that shit.
Yeah, I know. So I'm going to continue without it being on. It says the study authors pointed out the so-called Pfizer boob job phenomenon. So basically, other women have come forward, and they're also saying that the drug did it to them. But doctors are saying there's no evidence. Well, the fact that these women, the evidence is literally staring them in the face.
Yeah.
The researchers report that while lymph node swelling is a known side effect of COVID-19, not like that. It changes to the structure or density of breast tissue are exceedingly rare. So that doesn't mean that's not what happened. They're just trying to dismiss what these ladies are going through. The study authors said there's only been one published case detailing distinctive breast changes after the Pfizer booster, and it was a noticeable lump. The woman did not have a lump. The woman was found to have a very rare condition in which a benign lesion called POSH causes extreme breast enlargement. Fewer than 20 cases have ever been documented. But that doesn't mean all these women, this vaccine, this shot is the common denominator between all of them. And the article's pretty much over at that point. Her breast stopped growing after 6 months, and she underwent reduction surgery 5 months later. I don't blame her, but to me, this is dismissing what these ladies have gone through. I mean, this is insulting.
Yeah, I mean, I get the initial shock and excitement about hearing something like this, but at the same time, like, you can think about it. If you're talking about like a normally sized girl, right? She's not, of massive frame or anything like that. This is going to cause her severe problems growing them that big, that fast. It's going to fuck up her lower back. It's going to fuck up her shoulders. It's going to, even if she gets those reduced in size, the damage is already done.
Right.
I mean, what happens when kids grow too fast, right? Their bones crack. you know,
Yeah.
and sometimes they end up with internal problems in their skeletons because of it, because you know they shot up too fast or whatever. This is the same kind of thing. I mean, yeah, they're fleshy and all that stuff, but they're still gonna fuck up, you know, her physiognomy, and that's gonna cause her lasting fucking damage. I mean, she should have a lawsuit on her hands.
Yeah. But again, she's in
Hey,
Canada.
Devil.
It's
Hello.
the devil. So Devil, we are reading about a case where some Canadian ladies took the Pfizer vaccine, the COVID vaccine, and this one girl, it caused her breast enlarge. One unfortunate teen, her breast size went from a B cup to a triple G.
So are you trying to change my mind on the shot here?
Well, what we didn't know is because I'm reading from the New York Post. The New York Post posted photos of these women topless and like barely. You know how you put the like if somebody doesn't want to be seen and you put that little computer screen over their face, the little pixel you pixelate it.
Yeah.
They're barely pixelated. In fact, the photo that came across, there's another photo and it's supposed to be pixelated, and I can literally see this lady's breast. They might as well had not even tried.
But okay,
Had I scrolled down,
I
we probably would have we probably wouldn't even be on the air right now.
I see what you're trying to like. You expect me to feel one way about it, but I'm like not like.
Here,
You see
I'll
what I'm saying? Like,
here. Let me put
like
the-
it's
I'll
all
put-
like, oh, they showed these women's breasts. Oh no, for real?
Well, here. I'll put the link for you so you can check it out yourself.
Yes, please.
At your leisure. For research purposes.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
It's, I mean,
Professional. I'm trying to be professional.
how old did you say this chick was, Larry? Like 19 or some shit like that? That's a kid in my
Yeah.
eyes. I would, yeah, that's just weird at this point. But, you know, I know she's a legal adult and all that, but it's just
Still,
it's
man. I mean,
too
at our
fucking young
age-
for me to be looking at.
Yeah, at our age, man. She might at our age, at my age, 19. She might as well be 12.
Right.
I can't.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like I was already an adult for several years before she was born. So you know,
Yeah,
I don't know. Like I wouldn't probably date a girl that young. In fact, I know I wouldn't date a girl that young. And so, you know, sex is completely out of the thing. You're right. That would be weird. But like if at a concert some freaking 19-year-old pulls her tits out, I'm not gonna be like, oh my God. I'm gonna be like, okay, you know, like
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not, and that's fair. If you're like at a concert and something like that happens, I mean, it's not like you're going to go up and be like, Miss, I need to see your ID or you need to put those away.
Yeah. Prove you are over 18 so I can stare, please.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, this next one. So, Suka's not here tonight, but Devil, as you know, there's always a segment that I didn't create it. Suka created it, and it's pretty much a retrospective on all of Samuel's exes. So you remember this lady? She had this meme.
Is that one of your exes, Sam?
No, it's not. Every time he brings these women up, Larry has never met one of my exes, by the way, for the record, never.
Sam likes him nuts. Sam likes him insane.
I could just see that girl looking at Sam after like one night of regretful like hookup, and she's like, "We're gonna be so happy together." And Sam's just like, "Fuck no."
Well, this lady, so this girl, so she's a YouTuber. She
I know.
apparently.
Oh
so-
fuck no, no.
No, it's she's a meme. Poor girls became such a meme.
Yeah, but she put herself out there to be memed, and boy, and that's her today. This was 2012, I believe. That's 2012. That's how she looks today. She's 33 today.
Whoa. Huh.
The
She's 33
33-year-old
today. That was 2012 was what, 13 years ago? She was like 10 or 20 rather in that first picture.
Yeah, her name is Lena Morris. The former YouTuber behind the overly attached girlfriend meme recently revealed how her viral fame impacted her dating life. Now, it says former. Now, I checked her website. Her last video was 5 months ago, and I think and that was from, and it was this one. But apparently, she's saying that being the face of a toxic girlfriend was a problem once, when a date was shocked after she showed them the meme and responded, that that is you.
Okay, I mean the meme face is pretty hysterical, but I could see where it'd be a problem for her.
The truth is people like talk about girls with crazy eyes. The fact is, all girls have crazy eyes. It's just at what point and how often, but
Right.
pretty much all girls have crazy eyes.
But she knew how to access hers, which tells me that she's probably in tune with that crazy side. Because and there's a video too. I was looking through your text earlier. Whose mom?
That's good.
That's a good
That's
one.
good, man. But look, dude, this is the same
Oh,
shit that,
shit.
like, you remember a couple weeks ago we were talking about that one chick who was just like, oh yeah, I've got 2 vaginas, and I'm gonna lead with that, and also I have this OnlyFans I make a fuckload of money on, but gosh, I have a hard time in the dating world. Well, maybe don't lead with the meme shit.
Right. And Sam, you should know. I mean, these are all questions you've had to answer. So I was like,
Nah, they usually just chuck like knives and toasters at me.
so foreplay. Can we leave the light on tonight? I want to be able to watch you sleep. Let's see. You close the bathroom door. What are you doing in there? So it said, yeah, she became a meme in 2012 when she entered a contest created by Justin Bieber and submitted a video of her version of his hit single "Boyfriend." In the video, she stares into the camera with wide eyes, barely blinking throughout most of the video, a crazy expression that helps the video go viral, and sings her song from the perspective of a stalker. Here it is. Let's see if it'll work. Come on, damn it. You worked just fine earlier. Come on, Sam.
If I was your girlfriend, I'd drive you up the wall. Question who you're with, yeah, I'd always call and call. I wouldn't call it jealousy, just looking out for you. Reading all your texts, watching everything you do. Nag, nag, nag on you. Ask all
Jesus
about your
Christ.
past. And Facebook stalk you too. I don't care about them, I just care about us. So say hello to a girlfriend you should trust. Trust, yeah. I'll always be checking up on you.
Samuel.
Hey,
I'm more
boy,
disturbed how bad
who
she
you
is at
talking
singing.
to? If I was your girlfriend, I'd never let you leave without a small recording device taped under your sleeve.
Under your
This is
beard.
Kathy
You'll
Bates in
only
fucking
look your
Misery.
best and shave your face for me. Don't hide secrets in your house. 'Cause
Look at the look at her face just change. Look at the look at her face just change. Sam, she's definitely one of your exes.
boy, I stole the key. So tell me if you like her, don't try to say you don't. I can see it in your eyes that you want to try and go, but that ain't the right choice, yeah, you already know. I'm gonna make you stay with me and be mad if you don't. Girlfriend, I will be your girlfriend. I will be your girlfriend. I will be your girlfriend.
No.
Damsel, how about you just fucking give me my drink and my number 5 combo and leave me alone, girl.
Yeah,
Wait, I gotta go. Sam, I gotta go back because said this. I've been thinking about you all day since I watched this. I was like,
Don't say that. God.
No, but he's not gonna admit.
Sam, I've been thinking about you all day.
Are you trying to curse me, Larry? Is that what you're trying to do? Because that's where this is going.
I'm just saying, you cannot tell me that this did not happen. That this has never happened to you. As many windows as you've jumped out of.
No, they've never
You
sung to me
already
before.
know.
That's
I'm
never
gonna make you
happened.
stay with me and be mad if you don't. Girlfriend, I will be your girlfriend. I will be your girlfriend. I will be your girlfriend.
Yep. She kind of looks like Nomi with that look.
I'll always be
careful.
checking up on you. Hey boy, who you talking to? If I was your girlfriend, I'd never let you leave without
Still
a
a better
small
love story
recording
than Twilight.
device taped under your sleeve. And you'll only look your
Can't
best
argue with
and shave your face with
that.
me. Don't hide secrets in your house, 'cause boy, I stole the key.
Yeah, LaPoe, she's tone deaf as
I'll
fuck
make
too. That's a
wedding
problem for me.
plans, 'cause you'll stick with me, boy. Spend the
Jeez.
day with your girl, I'll be calling you my husband, husband. I just made a list, all our future kids' names. Bartholomew, Clarence, Steve, and Bryce. I'll never let you leave without a small recording device taped under your sleeve.
Your beard, Sam.
And you'll only look your best and shave your face for me. Don't hide secrets in your house, 'cause boy, I stole the key. Na na na, na na na, na na na, yeah boy. Na na na, na na na, na na na, yeah. Na na na, na na na, na na na, yeah boy. Na na na, na na na. If I was your girlfriend.
So creepy. Like she didn't run that past somebody. Like
I mean,
Hell no.
look,
She ran it past Justin Bieber.
if this was so if this was like earlier days of the internet, like or earlier days of YouTube, right? It wasn't like the beginning of it, but it was, around 2010, 2011, somewhere in there, right? The internet was a weird place full of weird videos. I mean, this is probably something that got put up in terms of just trying to be funny or make a weird little content video, but man, that comes off creepy as fuck.
Well, you read it. It was a contest that she entered.
Yeah.
So
Did she win?
I
oh
mean,
yeah, Justin Bieber was all like, yeah, that's the one. I definitely her. Hell no, man.
I mean,
Got a restraining
dude
order.
used to get boofed by Diddy. I'm sure she's an upgrade. Allegedly.
dude, my
He
cat is
went through enough trauma with the Diddy shit. He didn't need her.
Yeah.
Nah, it's just my point of that was I just saw it and I was just like, when I saw it, I was like, I'm going to show this to Sam because he cannot tell me that he has not encountered this before.
Not to that degree. No, I haven't. I'm a little bit more selective than you give me credit for, man. A little bit.
Well,
First of all,
if you run into a girl like that, you didn't really have a choice. I mean, you heard the lyrics.
if I ran into a girl like that, Larry, I'd still be in her basement with my legs sawn off.
Yeah.
They need
But you
insurance for girls like that.
I would not have gotten away. We would not know each other. I would be trapped still.
All right. Well, this brings me to my last one. Now, all the credit in the world goes to Rogues Gallery, Iron Oxide, Screen Queen, Selena and their crew. I didn't know these things existed until I saw this earlier tonight. So, I was just like, I was a little distracted at first, Double, because Dermy popped in the chat and started messing with Professor Savage Dad, because Savage Dad was smoking this long pipe, and Dermy was like, "What the f are you sucking on? It looks like a a dick," and they got into it in the chat. But Iron brought this up, and apparently, so we were going from companion dolls to a men's cuddling group.
So that's gay.
Yeah.
These guys are serious.
Yeah, still gay.
Cuddling is a good form of therapy. Can men cuddle as a form of support?
No.
Not unless they're gay.
They gotta be.
They all look gay.
Look at this dude. Just
That is
open
the gayest group photo ever. Like,
see, this is an example of like the modern, reimagining of terms and words and stuff. Because what a men's cuddling group is code for orgy.
Well, here in their defense, here how a men's cuddling group works. At the beginning of the cuddling center session, members are required to agree not to engage in any sexual touch. Members are also required to ask for consent from their cuddling partner before every action. Members then gather in a huddle and breathe meditatively. Excuse me. The cuddling process starts with men pairing up for what is referred to as the motorcycle hold. This is a type of hold where one man sits and leans on his back against the chest of the cuddling partner, which looks like taking a motorcycle ride together. Members
Yeah, it's
can
called sitting bitch.
yeah, members can massage their partner's shoulders or hands with consent and even stroke the other person's beard.
Oh hell no. Okay,
This is
dude,
gay as
this
fuck. I'm telling you.
yes. I'm sorry if dudes don't like to cuddle with girls, right? We're like, yeah, I just want to go to sleep. What the hell are you doing?
I say
What
we
the
chlor-
hell, dude, is all like, I'm gonna go cuddle with my bro, dog.
I'm gonna go
Like,
hug a bunch
no.
of dudes. I say we chloroform Andy Pickle and drop him in the middle of one of these sessions.
Dude, all that shit that I said about robots earlier, fuck that. I'm gonna get one of them.
I'd rather
instead.
have a robot. Let's see. For the second half of the session, the men cuddle as one large group in what is referred to as a puppy pile. In
Oh,
this in this
fuck
pile,
no.
men lay
Jesus.
with their heads in one another's laps,
Did they
chatting
touch
and
tits
joking.
too?
Chatting and joking. Kevin Itzenberger, a cuddling group co-founder, terms this as a safe space where men can come address their past traumas and feel safe enough to share their innermost thoughts. In a cuddling group, members find a free space to be vulnerable away from their life challenges and societal expectations. I bet you there's scopolamine in their drinks that force them to play the role of strong providers. In a cuddling group, men learn that it is okay to be a little broken. At the end of the meetings, the group of men huddle together and take turns completing phrases where they
Oh,
say
sure they
how they
complete.
feel in turn.
You know what? I also take back all that stuff I said about us needing to turn around the birth rate crisis. Fuck it. I think extinction is the only way out of this. We all got to go. This is men don't do this. Even gay men don't do this unless they're going to have sex with each other. This is not done by men. You might hug one dude that you're close with in a vulnerable moment, but you certainly don't do it when others are around to see it, ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
shake hands and then we do the shoulder dap, and that's and slap on the back.
It's
Yeah.
like modern society is deliberately trying to burn the unwritten book of man code.
Well, it
This
says
is
the
gay.
group is growing.
Gay. Oh yeah, I'm sure there's a ton of gay guys who are all like, yeah, I can't wait to get in the group.
These fuckers are probably the same kind of guys who are like, no, it's totally cool to stand to use a urinal right next to another dude. No, it's
Yeah.
not. You
No,
want
it's
one
not.
between you, minimum.
All right, so we got Devil here. We're going straight into Monsters Ball. You know what we're doing tonight, Devil, right?
No.
The-
Is it Whoopi Goldberg versus freaking Joy Behar finally?
You know what? I'll add them to the list. No, these are tonight's representatives are from your realm. Deadites versus Cenobites.
Cenobites are a good snack. I love those things.
Yeah, Cinnabites. That's definitely what we're talking about here with the cream cheese.
Yeah,
He's
I enjoy them.
thinking about sinner bites. So
Mm.
where we're gonna start first is we're gonna start with the Deadites first. Because I know Sam, you know quite a bit about them. Devil, you created them. So
Yeah,
um
not happy about it, but I did.
come on,
Yeah,
Samson.
this Kandarian demons are kind of a fucking handful.
I heard that they're fickle. Very fickle.
Yeah,
So
something like that.
so before we get into the festivities, so I found a list of the 10 most powerful Deadites, and I also found a list of the 10 most powerful Cenobites. In case
So
you guys
Before we go too much further, we should also caveat this with the fact that Screen Rant is a shill rag, and half the time they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yes.
That said, moving on.
Well, that's why I brought it up. I mean, that's why I pulled from these because it helps with the discussion. You know, that doesn't mean that we have to agree with what they're saying, but I figured you guys can. This brings an opportunity to agree or disagree with them with their choices, but also it brought a bit of okay. Well, these are examples that you guys can use to preface if you want to factor them into the battle. So, the demonic tree. The demonic tree is an iconic and dangerous deadite that wreaks havoc in multiple Evil Dead films.
That doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make sense. Kuji, the possessed high school mascot, I'm guessing that's him.
Yeah, that's from Ash versus Evil Dead. Yeah.
Yeah, is a deadly and monstrous deadite that terrorizes Elk Grove. Evil Ash, the main antagonist of Army of Darkness, is the most powerful deadite commanding an army of demons. I'm not so sure about that. Maybe the smartest.
So, yeah, starting with the evil tree. The thing about that is that yes, the tree was possessed, but it wasn't. It wasn't a deadite. Deadites are specifically people that get possessed, and
Right.
And all that. The evil itself is not a deadite. The evil that possesses them, that it makes deadites. But every time you see in those movies, right, when Ash is running away, but and the thing is following it with the shaky cam POV and all that stuff, you're seeing it through the evil's eyes, but you never see the evil itself because it's not tangible. It's not, it's, and the tree was certainly a manifestation of it, but it wasn't a fucking deadite.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't even mean to make it. I just pissed on the damn thing and it became what it was.
and then it got all angry and molested. Yeah.
Yeah. Supposed to be relieving myself. Shit.
Somebody said that's Aaron Laura roided out. She's going Super Saiyan in the photo.
So this looks like a screenshot from the remake too.
It is.
Yeah. Which I didn't see.
I saw it. It was good. It was scary. It definitely put me through my paces. I had to finish watching Ash versus the Evil Dead, which I also liked.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the song that they play at the end. They're coming to take me away. They're coming to take me away.
Yeah. Ash versus Evil Dead was actually a really good series. If y'all haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It was a lot of fun. Just don't eat while you're watching it because it's really fucking bloody.
Yeah, it is. So we'll call this girl. This is roided Laura. Roided Aaron. How about that? Nah! Her energy's over 9,000. Anyway, second one. Kuji.
So the kid inside the mascot is really what's possessed there. It's not the suit itself. There is somebody inside it. Although it does seem to manifest and like kind of change the suit itself. Like it gets the fangs and it gets these like nasty claws that it rips people open with and stuff. That the actual mascot suit didn't have those before dude got possessed. But and this, I don't know if I would call this a powerful one so much as it was. I mean, it was gimmicky. It was fun, but there were other Deadites I think that probably did better than this. The only reason this one did so well is because Ash got separated from his weapons and the core group got trapped inside a fucking an abandoned high school building.
Mm-hmm.
And it started picking them off one by one when they'd separate out and all that stuff. But it wasn't like if it went into the room and Ash had all his gear and shit, it wouldn't have lasted any longer than any of the others would.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially with his handy dandy shotgun and his handy dandy saw, chainsaw. But it says Kuji, he was incredibly dangerous and most likely could have wiped out the entirety of Elk Grove High School if it wasn't for the intervention of Kelly and Dalton. I doubt that. I mean, if they all I almost said if they all gangbanged him, if they all ganged up on him, I mean, how physically strong are Deadites?
So that varies, right, from movie to movie and scene to scene. Like it's not consistent. The rules about them are completely inconsistent. Some of them display feats of super strength, and some of them can just be fucking slapped around by normies. You know, you never really know until you get into the scene with it. You know, like there, for example, in the beginning of Army of Darkness, right? So there's this pit that the king is throwing people into. I say, wait, what? Save the game for the cuddle session? Jesus. Okay. Anyway, there's this pit and it's got a deadite inside it, but he's like super mutated. He looks like a beastie rather than like a possessed corpse. And they toss a guy in there, but and all they show is him screaming and this fountain of blood coming out of it a second later, right? When Ash gets down there, he just kicks it around and stuff and uses his belt to get out and all that, and then eventually shoots it in the face. But it doesn't, you know, its power level is inconsistent just in that one scene, right? Because if it could turn one dude into a fountain of like human paste, right, it could have done it to Ash too without his weapons in a second, but it didn't because, you know, plot armor.
Right. Good old plot armor. All right. Now, what about Linda?
So Linda's special, but only because she's Ash's. Is that Ash's girlfriend or his sister? I forget which. I think she's his sister or his girlfriend.
One of Ash's college friends. Ash seemingly kills Linda by beheading her in The Evil Dead, but her disembodied head manages to come back for revenge at Evil Head 2.
Okay, yes. So that was his girlfriend.
I'm gonna be your girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be your girlfriend.
Yeah. So that was a girl he was looking to hook up with in the first movie and all that stuff. And she gets recast in like all of the different iterations of it. But she's special because Ash specifically has emotional ties to her because he knew her, right? And so she's able to manipulate him in ways that a lot of like the random deadites can't, because, you know, while they'll say shit because, you know, demons apparently have knowledge that regular people don't. This particular one is inhabiting the mind and the memories of somebody who actually did know him and uses that against him, and that's the reason he has the toughest time with her. But like physically, she's no stronger than your average deadite. She just she's able to fuck with his head.
You just described the Blackest Night from DC Comics. That's how they were, you know, the undead. That's how they were getting.
Mhm.
They were going straight after the loved ones because loved ones couldn't fight. You know, they were using their emotions against them.
Right. Well, I mean, the death rings are still part of the emotional spectrum, so yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Next one, Cheryl Williams.
So that's Ash's sister. And again, same problem. You know, she is able to manipulate him because he grew up with her. He knows her very well. She also knows him. She's also proven to be kind of difficult to kill because while she dies in the first movie, right, she is, I think, referenced in the third movie. And in Ash versus Evil Dead, she actually returns in his father's house. You know, in this case, she may just be an apparition there, put there by the evil to fuck with his head or some shit like that, but it's unclear. And she behaves very much like Deadeye version of his sister. So she might actually be a little harder to kill, but she'd been dead for like 40 years by the time she showed up in his dad's house. Like he'd already slain her.
Okay. Yeah, it says she broke free, so she's the one that affected everybody. I've never seen the original one, the first one. I'll have to go and watch it. Mia Allen. Now that's the one from the remake that you didn't see.
Yeah. I don't know anything about her.
Now she becomes a deadite and it gets cured. It gets exercised from her. And I think if I'm not mistaken, she's the final girl.
Yeah, same thing happens to Ash. Beginning of Evil Dead 2, he gets possessed, and then again, the rules are extremely inconsistent in this world, right? He gets possessed, and the fucking sun drives it out of his body and saves him. But later on, in other mediums, you see deadites possessed in full fucking daylight, and they stay possessed. So,
well, this one I encourage you to go look at this one. This one is it's not a bad reboot. Henrietta Noby.
okay, so she's the wife of the professor who dug up the fucking book and the dagger in the first place. She was a deadite before they even got there. They found her chained up in the fucking basement because the professor read out loud from the book and it turned his wife.
How did he manage to train her up? That's the thing, because I mean, look at those arms, man.
Yeah,
You've been working out more than
there's some
Aaron.
plot holes. Yeah, there's some plot holes, and actually, she's not buff. She's just roly poly with loose skin.
I take that back. Well, Aaron's actually in shape, so. All right.
Yeah.
Now he's from Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Yeah, and he's one of the heroes of that story too. So like when
Right.
he gets possessed, he does get exorcised. He gets saved.
I didn't get that far, so I'll have, like I said, at this point, I'll have to go back and watch from season 1.
Mhm. Yeah, Pablo's a great fucking character. Ash vs. Evil Dead is a really great show.
Yeah, I wish it had gone on longer than it did. Now this is
They got canceled.
one.
They got canceled.
That sucks. People don't understand good cinema these days. Now this is from the movie that came out last year.
Yeah,
Evil Dead
again,
Rise.
didn't see that.
Yeah, that's the mother that affected everybody. Now, you've seen Transformers, right? The cartoon Transformers, all the robots that like Voltron stuff
Many,
like that.
many years ago. Yeah.
Right. Well, after she infects her children, guess what happens towards the end? Take a wild guess.
Yeah, I don't know. She turns into a robot.
She infects almost. Hold on. She infects. I think she has like 3 kids, and she infects all but the youngest one. So her aunt, her aunt shows up there, and like I said, all the other kids they end up becoming deadites. So the aunt saves the little girl, and they're running out, right? Well, her brother and sister, they all wake up. They're not all vanquished. Some of the neighbors were, but so they're getting out, and then mom and her siblings, they stop and they just look at them, and all of a sudden it's Voltron time. These fools combined, literally like Voltron, into a giant deadite and went after them.
That sounds retarded.
Yeah.
It was. I couldn't believe it. It looked like a blob of hands. It was just crazy the way they like, and it wasn't like a little quick morph. Like that sucker was slow. Like when you see like the Voltron, the lions with when it says 4 feet and legs, and the feet go up and go into place, stuff like they did that.
Yeah. That's honestly, that sounds like they stole an idea from Clive Barker.
They probably did.
Well, he did this short story years ago in the Books of Blood. I think it was the 2nd volume, called "In the Hills, the Cities." And it's about this gay couple who were touring through what would later become Bosnia Herzegovina and so on, but was at the time still the Yugoslavia.
Mm-hmm.
And they come across 2 towns that are near each other, and they're kind of rivals and whatnot. And every year they have this festival, and this festival the whole town, the population of each town gets together, and they lash themselves to each other naked, and they form these giants out of their own bodies, right? Like children form the eyes and the teeth, right? And it's just like these huge things, these towering...
It's called a puppy pile. Hello.
Yeah, something like that. Except when they do this, they begin to move and act as single cells in a single body, right? So they become these giants. These villages do, and then they have a ceremonial battle. Well, there's an accident, and one of the villages falls, right? And when it does, it hits with such force that the individual people who are lashed together kind of splatter, killing the village. Right, but it kills it as a single entity, and the other giant, the other village, collectively loses its mind and runs off rampaging into the hills. That's what this sounds like to me. Except that Clive Barker wrote it better.
Well, I mean, he's Clive Barker, so.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Attack on Titan, for real, huh? All right, let's see the next one. Ash's hand.
Oh yeah, Ash's hand
Oh
fucked him
yeah.
up. He got his ass slapped around by that thing for like almost the whole movie.
Okay. Yeah, I read. I was like, wait a minute, what? His freaking hand?
Yeah,
That's why it's cut off.
Yeah, he had to cut his hand off because it got possessed and tried to kill him, and then it still tried to kill him, even severed. For like the whole movie, he's chasing it around and shit that's why he gets the chainsaw arm in the first place, is because he needs something to replace that hand because
Right.
It's evil.
That's messed up. His hand, dude, and of course,
Yeah.
Evil Ash. Give me some
Yeah,
sugar.
Evil Ash was cool. Evil Ash was cool. I think he got less cool as the movie went on. He just kind of was like, okay, it's just a souped up Deadite in special armor or whatever. But when he was still looking like Ash when they first separated, and they were just beating the shit out of each other, it was all it was very, very reminiscent of the Three Stooges. Actually,
Yeah, it was.
that
It
was
was funny
that
as
was
hell.
the best Ash. Yeah, that was the best Evil Ash. I love that shit.
And the funny in the whole thing was funny too, especially because of how you get Evil Ash because he didn't say the words right, and then the damn book bit him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Klaatu, Verata.
Yeah.
Did you say the words? Did you say all the words? Yeah, I said them more or less.
More. Oh no! What have you done?
I fucking love that. Yeah, Aaron, we have some of us. I've seen the show all the way through.
I haven't, but I'm gonna go back and watch it.
Yeah, it's really entertaining.
Right. So here's the second thing is, and I'm posting this because Devil, I don't know how familiar you are with him. Kandarian Demon. Look at that. Ugh.
Yeah. So
Got a little something on his face.
Some big pimples.
The Kandarian demons aren't demons in the sense that they come from literal actual hell. They actually come from a separate dimension that's ruled by evil gods.
Yeah, Devil's Realm.
No, different one than that, but they have their own special realm. But they
he's Mephisto, so he has, Mephisto has his own realm.
Yeah, well, there are lots of, but my point is that these demons most of the time don't break through, don't manifest physically in our world, right? There's very few of them that ever have, but when they do, they tend to look something like this, or like the guy with no eyes in Ash versus Evil Dead and had tusks coming out of his chin, who crawled out of Pablo's mouth.
Ugh. So it says. So the Kandarian demon. So this is what releases the Deadites. It causes the Deadites. Okay. Creates various other supernatural occurrences. So let's see. Power.
It's the evil when you reference the evil, the one that chases Ash all over. This is what it manifests physically as. Most of the time, it doesn't manifest physically though.
Okay, so that makes this fight that makes this fight more interesting. But I guess it's no different than using the Cenobites, and the Cenobites have Pinhead.
Well, they have Leviathan over him.
Right.
Who's a god.
Well, but the Kandarian demon is the Kandarian demon a god, or is it just one of the demons?
I think it's an extra dimensional. I think it's an extra dimensional entity of great power. I don't know if God is the term that was ever used for it. I know that there were massively powerful things in its dimension originally, like Lucy Lawless's character in Ash versus Evil Dead is supposed to be one of them, but like stripped of a lot of her power and shoved into a human form.
Yeah, well, it says here physical form. It says that Ash was able to defeat it, stabbed it in his eye, so it's not invulnerable. But maybe having to manifest gives it some vulnerability. It's like it's not in its realm. So it's kind of like Randall Flagg, like you say, his powers are they have to conform to whatever realm he's in.
Yeah, I think so. The Kandarian demon, if it manifests physically, right in the real world, it probably is more powerful. It's able to bring more power to bear, but I think that physical form also makes it more vulnerable.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Deadite conversion. So of course it can make people deadites. It can fly. I mean, we know that from that. It's flying really fast. Hallucination induction. While in its non-physical form, the Kandarian demon is able to torment others with illusions in their minds. They need to fix that.
Mhm.
Invulnerability. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, while it's in its non-physical form, yeah, how are you going to hurt it? Smoke form when the Kandarian demon is. So my guess is my guess is this is what I'm thinking. You can't see it initially. It flies when it wants to get into somebody. Maybe it turns into smoke and goes into their nose or something. I don't know.
Well, it's implied that every time it's chasing the characters and they're looking back scared and they see something, right?
Mhm.
So it's kind of implied that that's the non-physical, non-tangible kind of smoky form. But you never actually see it yourself
Right.
as the viewer,
Okay. Kandarian
which was
demon.
a budget thing.
Oh, of course. Let's see. The Kandarian demon has shown bursts of great strength when lifting or tearing through objects and living beings. Well, of course. So its weakness is weak to sunlight. So we've got that um, physical form. So becoming physical does make it weaker. All
Yeah,
righty.
and the sunlight thing, like I mentioned, it was driven out of ash by the rising sun in the beginning of Evil Dead 2. But that is not really applied again. It was like a one-time thing, apparently.
It's like saying maybe that particular one was vulnerable to it, but not others.
Yeah, like again, it's implied. Like this is the thing that gets summoned with the book, right? So the thing that is hunting Ash specifically because it's
Right.
after him specifically, right? So it's almost always, from what I understand, it's always the same being that's chasing him and all that stuff. But the only time the whole sunlight thing really works is that one time at the beginning of Evil Dead 2 because they had to figure out a way for Ash to be the hero again, and he's pretty much the only fucking actor in that movie besides his girlfriend. So
Yeah, for real, right? All right. You ready, Devil? Oh,
Yep.
he's okay.
Okay.
Next. 12 strongest Cenobites ranked. Let's see if you and Sam agree with this one. Let's see, Sam. Scroll. Torso.
no, that shouldn't even be on there.
Why?
It's from Hellraiser Inferno. That movie's retarded. The torso is not even a full Cenobite. It's a pseudo Cenobite, and it only appears in like 2 fucking scenes briefly in the background.
Okay. Torso was created by the Chatterer, who considers him his master. After Chatterer's death in Hellbound Hellraiser 2, Torso searched for his missing master in the labyrinth. He eventually joined Pinhead's group and helped torture Joseph Theron, a soul trapped between Earth and Hell.
Yep.
Okay. The Wire Twins. Woo, that's creepy.
Yeah, that's later on. That was a kind of a. So they again appeared in Hellraiser Inferno, which, by the way, is the worst fucking movie in the entire franchise. I'm just putting that out there. But they were what happens when somebody watched the last movie, which was the first one that featured twin Cenobites in it,
Mhm.
and was like, "Hey, we can make this look even weirder," and then turned them into chicks and added a bunch of fucking wires and shit like that, and they're not like always conjoined either. But yeah, these like most of the Cenobites in. So there's a couple of these movies, Inferno being Hellraiser 5, and Hellseeker, which is Hellraiser 6, which is one of my favorite ones, but it's not very widely loved. Both of those, right? You could actually probably apply this to everything after Hellraiser 4, really, up until the remake. Most of the time, the Cenobites aren't even hardly in the movie, and they're really just used for like shock effect, when they're not really part of the story specifically. Like, and some of those movies were actually separate scripts that they just slapped Hellraiser onto because they wanted to hold the fucking rights. So there's very little to do with the actual like mechanics of heaven and hell and the Cenobites in the box and all that stuff. And this was kind of the beginning of them moving away from that. Like the Bloodline, the fourth one was the last one where they really focused on the lore of hell, until the remake.
Right.
I'm just saying, they showed up in a couple of scenes, but they weren't really part of the overall thing.
All righty.
Hell, I think Pinhead's only in like 2 or 3 scenes in that movie.
Oh, well, yeah. I won't be watching Inferno. All right, The Surgeon from Hellraiser, Hellseeker.
Yeah. So this was them not being particularly creative, because this is clearly supposed to be reminiscent of Dr. Chenard from Hellraiser 2, Hellbound. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was there, I guess. He probably lore wise, he probably has something to do with. They don't really explain too much of this in the movies, but the lore wise, he probably has something to do with the engineer, who is the actual being that creates the Cenobites.
All right. Well, it says here that he accepted Pinhead's offer without hesitation. I guess they liked how he cut people up.
Yeah. Most likely.
He bound and captured the first victim and was successful in killing her and taking her soul back to their realm. Okay. So, Siamese twins from Hellraiser.
Those ones are creepy as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty creepy.
So, I got to put this out there. Am I the only one who's actually seen all of the movies?
Yeah, probably.
Probably, and I've seen quite a few.
I'm just checking. So this was from the fourth movie, Bloodline. They were in the modern era, because the story takes place in 3 different eras. Once in the 1700s, first part 1700s, second part modern era, third part a couple hundred years in the future on a space station, which is how you know that a franchise is going to hell, because the fourth Leprechaun movie also took place in space.
Right.
Jason X takes place in space. They run out of ideas. Let's go to space.
Hey, even Fast and Furious did that.
Yeah. So, but they were in the modern portion of the movie, and they were a couple of security guards who were, on the night shift or whatever, in the building that Le Marchand's descendant was putting together. And they run into Pinhead and Angelique in that movie, and Pinhead's like, scaring the shit out of them. They're, please don't separate us. I can hear you saying that in your head, and I promise you that will never happen. So as the engineer bring up the machine and fuses them together, and when they show up again in the future, they separate, and each of them attaches their side that's attached to each other to this other dude, and they just kind of absorb them and fuse back together again.
That's creepy.
It's super fucked up, but like their actual fusing, that circular thing between where their heads are wrapped around.
Yeah.
Right. So that's actually a rod that was attached to the machine, right? And it came out, and these 2 drill bits came out of either side of it, drilled into their heads, and then it pulled the flesh from each of them as it spun. It was a really fucked up thing to watch.
This was Hellraiser was Saw before Saw was thought of.
Yeah, but they were scary, because like if you look at their faces, they're technically supposed to be reminiscent of like comedy and tragedy, right?
Yeah. Cenobite cuddle session.
Right. So, but they're actually true Cenobites. They were made, and they come back later. Your pseudo Cenobites are ones that are generally like made on the fly by, Pinhead for a specific purpose. Like if you ever watched Hellraiser 3: Hell on Earth, all of the helpers he has in that are pseudo Cenobites. They're not true Cenobites. They're just him working with there's one dude who throws CDs like they're ninja stars.
I think I've seen that. I've seen that.
Yeah. There's another guy who's got a fucking TV camera lodged in his head.
He's like, I'm filming everything.
Yeah, so those were kind of temporary things. They end up being damned souls later, and they go to hell and they stay there. But this guy, or these guys rather, they came back and they were kind of terrifying.
That's crazy. All right, Butterball.
Butterball's OG.
Yeah.
Yep. Butterball is OG. He's intimidating as fuck too, because he's one of the silent ones.
Mhm.
And the one time he takes his glasses off, his eyelids are sewn shut. He has no eyes.
That'll do it.
Yeah. But
He looks like
he's
a
supposed
fucking like a limp penis.
kind of,
Or like
yeah.
or like a thumb.
Well, his whole shtick was his whole because the way that it originally worked before they started getting more Judeo-Christian about stuff, which happened in Inferno. That's where that really that shit really started and kind of went away from the lore. Before that happened, generally when you open the box, usually you're seeking something. You're seeking some kind of extension or greater pleasure than you've known before, right? This guy's dude in life before he became a Cenobite was gluttony. What, not as a sin, but he was all about consumption, right? So he turns into the ultimate immortal fat ass. He's also pretty strong physically.
Yeah, and it says he is considered the smartest Cenobite in the group. I'm guessing besides Pinhead.
Well, Pinhead's the leader, right? This would be Donatello to Pinhead's Leonardo.
Right. Okay. Chatterer Beast.
Yeah, that was a gimmick in Bloodline. They wanted the chattering, right, the sound of it, but they didn't want to do like the Chatterer makeup again for some reason. And so this is what we got. This is it. It's essentially a bad dog.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
He did not go to heaven.
He bit one too many owners. All right. The Gasp.
So, if you guys recall the SITV opening where it says "Save your breath for screaming," this is from the remake Hellraiser, came out a couple years ago, and it's this character that says that.
Save your breath for screaming.
Yeah.
Oh, vagina Nick.
Yes, and that's why Game Rant is calling it Gasp, because that's not what it's called. It's called Throat.
Yeah, I was about to say throat.
And this is actually a reworked design from the original female Cenobite from the original movies, who also had a throat that was splayed open like a vagina. So they sort of combined some of the elements from the original female Cenobite, and the thing where the flesh on the head is peeled off and attached to the shoulders is actually from Angelique in 4. So they sort of combined elements for that to create this look. But she's sort of a reboot of older characters. Very cool though.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new designs they did with the Cenobites were fucking unreal. They were really, really cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Even though she's
Blindy says I should call her.
I saw that. Blindy, I thought you couldn't see. Well, I guess he's listening to what you're saying.
Yeah.
But the Gasp will obey, or the Throat will obey Pinhead's orders and is willing to bargain so long as she gets a fair trade. She's a terrifying addition to the franchise, and one that the fans won't be able to take their eyes off whenever she appears.
Yeah, she's definitely dominates the screen when she's on, and one of the interesting things about her, yeah, like this is the original version of that. While this character had a more masculine voice, the Gasp or Throat above had this kind of wheezy, raspy, like air was escaping through her throat as she was trying to talk kind of sound, which was really cool and creepy.
Yeah.
So, but this one, so female Cenobite is not her original name either. That's a PC thing. The original name of this character is the Bitch.
Right. Right.
And
exactly.
played by 2 different actresses in Hellraiser 1 and Hellraiser 2. Most people remember her from Hellraiser 2.
Yeah.
Most people remember her from Hellraiser 1. And Hellraiser 2. Most people remember her from Hellraiser 1 and Hellraiser 2. Most people remember her from Hellraiser 2. Most people remember her from Hellraiser 2. But she was basically of the four main Cenobites in the early movies. She was the second in command of Pinhead's group, or the Hell Priest, as he preferred to be called. Apparently, in the lore, nobody calls him that to his face because he will flay you alive.
All right. Let's see. Next one. Angelique.
Angelique is an interesting character. She's an old school demon from before the time when the Cenobite Order, the Order of the Gash, took over their region of hell. She was from a time previous to that. Pinhead refers to her repeatedly as Princess. Angelique is not actually her name; it's the name of the. This is one of the few times when you actually see like demonic possession in the movies, because she was a servant girl in the 1700s in France who was sacrificed and skinned by a sorcerer, who then filled her skin with this demon, who took the girl's name, Angelique. And she actually looks human for most of her part in the movie until the last part of it, when Pinhead's taken her back to hell and she's been forcibly converted. There's some tension between her and Pinhead because they kind of represent opposing factions. And Pinhead basically puts the fear of him into her, and she converts later on. So she comes back looking like this. But she is one of the more conniving characters. You know, she's very intelligent. She's very smart. She's extraordinarily manipulative.
After she failed, yeah, you're right. So that she failed to seduce somebody. Well, oh well. There's a chatterer.
So there's more than one, but the original one, who got different makeup in Hellraiser 2 than Hellraiser 1. They changed the makeup up a little bit, added some wires, removed his eyes, kind of thing. His backstory is he's basically a little boy who got caught up in this shit.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking dark. The other ones that you're seeing there, the one in the middle is, I think, from Hellseeker. It might have been from Inferno, but that's like obviously a different one because it's got tits. The original Chatterer was a dude, very clearly. And that one on the end is from the remake, who was like 8 fucking feet tall. Like, he was scary as shit. So,
that sounds scary.
You know.
All right, let's see.
But that's the thing about them, is they don't speak. They're constantly chattering their teeth. There's this constant gnawing sound that's going on when they're present. It's very unnerving. And they're kind of basically the enforcer of whoever's in charge.
Dr. Channard. That's who you were talking about earlier, right?
Yes. Dr. Channard, as he's called, he actually has some real power. He took on Pinhead's entire group, attempting to replace Pinhead as Leviathan, the god of the labyrinth's favorite.
He only appeared once. It cannot be denied that the Doctor did a lot of damage.
He did. He's interesting because, like, you obviously see the wires cutting into his face there.
Right.
But the things that are gripping his head is like this giant fleshy leech thing that actually connects him directly to Leviathan and carries him around. He basically floats around being carried by his head by this fucking leech worm thing. And he's got this weird ability where the palms of his hands open up and these tentacles come out that do various. It's like, you know, the Penguin in Batman, how he's got all those umbrellas and each of those umbrellas has a different trick.
Yeah.
Right. Each of these tentacles, like one of them opened up and was an eyeball. One of them opened up and it was a scalpel tip. One of them opened up and was a fucking blooming flower for some reason, you know, and he can fire them like fucking missiles out of his hands. You know?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he actually had some real power, and he had nearly convinced Leviathan to allow him to replace Pinhead as the Hell Priest, as the lead Cenobite of the Order of the Gash, because he wanted power. He's ultimately defeated in the end, but only just, and he basically wipes the fucking floor with Pinhead and his whole fucking group. Which is in Hellraiser 2, for those who are curious.
So he lost by the skin of his teeth. Basically.
He didn't. He is actually defeated by Leviathan.
Oh,
Leviathan gets sick of his uppity attitude and takes the worm back, and with it, the top of that dude's head.
well, see, also too, Leviathan is also looking at it like this: how much longer before he goes after Leviathan himself?
It's possible that he was thinking of that. He just at some point he just decides that this guy wasn't worth the trouble, and he pulls his head into two pieces, sort of bisects it. But prior to that, like there wasn't anybody who could stand up to him on the ground. Even the other Cenobites were kind of getting their asses kicked.
Right. And of course, the Hell Priest itself.
Yep. This dude's got charisma up the wazoo. He also has a bunch of fucking special tricks that he pulls out. Here and there. He is seductive and mocking all at the same time. He can be extremely insulting and extremely what's the word I'm looking for? Complimentary at the same time. He's very eloquent. That was the thing that made him scarier, I think, than a lot of other 80s horror icons, was that he wasn't like Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees, who were these silent behemoths, right? Or Freddy Krueger, who's always calling people a bitch or cracking some dirty joke or anything. He was eloquent and he was poised, and he was extremely just well spoken, well presented. But you didn't piss him off because he could just think it, and you would be in pieces.
Yeah. All right. So let's do this. Because we're actually short on time. So let's do this. What do we know about the power of the Cenobites? Now we've seen what the Kandahar demon can do, and the Deadites. We know what they can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how are we gonna do this? Because it looks like each Cenobite does something different. So if we're gonna, I guess, give them any kind of real fight, we're gonna have to pull somebody from that list.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Cenobites, is that whatever their vice was, or their passion, or their obsession in life was, it informs what they're able to do. There's actually one in the comics named Atkins, who has ammo belts woven into his chest, and he uses fucking guns that fire like pieces of his own flesh because he was a soldier in Vietnam.
Yeah, we got to do it like in the movie Troy, where it's all like, send out your best fighter and this will determine, so you don't have to kill everybody. The strongest Cenobite would be Pinhead, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Strongest of the Deadite would be, I guess, at least by the list, is Ash, Evil Ash.
Right.
I think it's pretty clear that Pinhead could beat Evil Ash. I mean, at least to me.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree, because Evil Ash has what, he's got an army of the dead, plus he's got his Kandarian powers or whatever, but Pinhead could just immobilize him and tear his tongue out.
Yeah,
right.
That's the thing.
Well, and I'm actually in agreement with that. So it looks like I thought this was going to be a battle, but it looks like it's the easiest. So hey, Pinhead takes this one.
Yeah.
I mean, even if what if he went up against the Kandaharian demon?
Well, if it depends. Is it manifested in the flesh, or is it not?
It would have to manifest. Well,
because if it's manifested,
that's not even fair. Because then it would actually have to be the Kandaharian demon versus Leviathan. That would be.
And I'm pretty sure Leviathan could just. So again, the main thing that the Cenobites do is they read what your deepest, darkest, most hidden desire is, and then they twist it and use it against you, right? What does the Kandarian demon do? It possesses your loved ones and fucks with you before it eats you.
And I don't know if that would actually qualify for the battle because it's not a Deadite, it's a Kandaharian demon. It's not a Cenobite, it's Leviathan. They're just because they created the other doesn't mean they are of the other.
Right. So yeah, so that brings it right back to Evil Ash versus Pinhead, and I think all three of us in agreement that Pinhead would wipe the floor with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the Doctor would wipe the floor with it.
I mean, Evil Ash would say some really fucking funny shit while it was happening, though. So it'd be worth watching.
Yeah, true. So there we have it. So with that said, folks, that is the end of tonight's show. Devil, would you like to push anything out? That is
Yeah. Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna crack one right here. Yeah, check out the pub here in in hour and a half. No, we start at 11 now, huh? So half hour.
Yeah. I about to say, yeah, you need half an hour, dude.
Yeah, in half an hour, check out me, Sam over at the pub. And check out on Tuesday, we will be doing a Get Ranked. We are doing Final Fantasy games. So I'm trying to get a couple people in line.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Well, you have to be an expert on the games. I don't.
Oh yeah, I'm not an expert on the
games. Yeah. I'm trying to get people who really know the games because I know only a couple, and so Sam disappeared. Yeah, so there's a couple people I just have to get a hold of, but they're pretty big experts on them, so I should have no problem. And then yeah, catch me back here next week for the Nether Monsters Ball battle. So yeah, that's all my stuff.
All righty. Well, with that said, folks, Sam's internet dropped. So we'll roll out without him. I am Lawrence Knight, and stay tuned. We'll be back next weekend. Devil, of course, you're invited. Next Friday is my birthday, so we're going to be doing something.
Cool.
Either we're going to do some kind of crazy trivia. And like I said, I have restarted the Choose Your Own Adventure. If I can get it to where I want it to be, we might do that next week. We might do a mixture of both. I'll have to see. But other than that, folks, we'll see you back here next week. And you can also catch Sam tomorrow for Screaming Into the Void, and catch us both in the chat as moderators for the world famous Exiled Lioness 2 channel Saturday nights if she goes on. Other than that, we will see you guys next week. I guess there's no point. It won't let me end the stream. I'm trying to end it.
I can.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. He did something. It says play.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta hold on. I gotta do